Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday morning, and I thought I would try something a little different today. This kind of goes along the lines of goes along with my adventures in thrifting. So, why don't we call it Thrifty Thursday? I may keep up with it, I may not. We'll see. Anyway, the reason for this video is I was watching another YouTuber that I enjoy watching that I recently came across. Her name is Frugal Green Girl. She did a collaboration with some other YouTubers, and it was about budget busters. Now, my interpretation of a budget buster for me is that those things that come up in your budget that you know they're going to come up, but sometimes they catch you off guard, or those things that they kind of get you in the gut when you got to spend money on them. You know you need them, but you don't want to spend the money, or something you want, but you can't justify spending the money maybe. Or some of the things that just kind of sneak up on you, like maintenance, repairs, things like that. Like maybe you had the money saved up on it to get something to fix an item and whatever, and you have to make a choice. Do you just take care of that problem, or do you pay a little extra money to maybe avoid something else in the foreseeable future that kind of goes along with that fix? Anyway, hope that made sense to you. Anyway, here are my top 4 budget busters, so let's get started. Number 1 is gift giving and birthdays. Now, birthdays come along every year. I have 4 children, so we do with birthdays, and I have 3 children with birthdays right before Christmas, and my husband's as well. Now, because we know that we're going to be spending money on Christmas stuff and birthday things, I start planning in the beginning of the year, earlier in the year, maybe like springtime. And I keep an eye out for birthday items going on clearance or being marked down. For instance, our local dollar store will mark down, they'll put birthday items in the clearance aisle, but I wait because they will mark them down even further, and then they'll have 50% off of their clearance items for like maybe a 3-day span. And that is when I will go and I will collect a whole bunch of it. I bring it home, put it up in my attic in a box, and then I get it out when it's birthday time. I do this for my daughter's birthday too, but if I find that if it's something I'm going to use within the next year for their birthdays, I grab it. I even check other clearance aisles. Even my thrift store, my local thrift store this past year, somebody brought in a whole bunch of party stuff, and it just so happened to be colors that worked with the theme that my daughter wanted for her birthday. And I happened to find it a couple months before her birthday and during a bag sale. So I saved a lot on her birthday. And the money I saved, I used to do something special for her. We made t-shirts for her birthday with the theme on it. I found a logo I could print off on Pinterest that someone had, and it was backwards, so I could put it on transfer paper and put it on t-shirts. And I found all the stuff for that on eBay. Used my iron at home. It worked out, and she and her friends had a lot of fun, and it was really great. So that's how we deal with that. Gift giving, that's a little bit harder. However, I utilize my resources. If you're crafty, you can make things. Keep an eye out again for clearance items. A lot of times stores have things marked down and you just have to look. You kind of have to plan ahead sometimes to make sure you're doing this well. And I will keep things on hand. Toys that are on clearance, craft items that are on clearance. I even check, of course, consignment shops and thrift stores, but you can find some things at thrift stores that are still new. I bought my grandma a candle from Hobby Lobby. I didn't buy it from Hobby Lobby. The candle came from Hobby Lobby, and I bought it at a thrift store, and it still had the tag on it from Hobby Lobby. It was almost an $11 candle, and I paid $2 for it, and she loves it. So that's one way. Making gifts is another way. Like when we're hard up on cash, we always have scraps of wood and extra things, and my husband helped me put together this really cool toy one year for our cousin's son. and it was a car garage thing, place to keep his little cars. And we just went and bought him some cheap little cars to put in it. It was just PVC pipes in a wooden frame that we made with scraps. And the PVC pipes, we placed them in there and secured them in there. And my kids painted the sides and things and decorated it with his name. And he loves it. He stores other things in there too, I guess. So anyway, that's one way to deal with that. Number 2, shopping for stuff that is not groceries. This was my biggest problem. We'd go to a department store or not, but maybe like Walmart or whatever, and we'd be going to get a few grocery items. And of course, to go to the grocery aisles, we had to pass the clothing section, and I'd see clearance, and I'm just drawn into the clearance racks. And it wasn't always something I needed. And I thought, oh, I might need this. I might need this later. Keyword, might. That was my downfall. Or the kids would see something. Or we always go down the clearance aisle every time. Every time we go to a store, we find that clearance aisle. Unless I have something in mind or I have a list of maybe who's got birthdays coming up in the next few months, I will just grab things. Oh, this is a good deal. This is a good deal. This is a good deal. We've started to get away from that. My husband's having a little more trouble still. I myself and my husband were both learning a little bit more control with that. So sticking to a list helps. And going over your budget first off and seeing if you even have the extra money to buy these items first. You know, I'll go in with a number in mind, like, okay, we have an extra $10 we can spend on stuff to get for, you know, supplies for making gifts or whatever. So, yeah, that helps. I need to backtrack just a little bit back to the gift giving and birthdays. If you have a skill, like I said, we make things for gifts. Baking or cooking things for people, people love those types of things. I made apple butter for people one year for family members, and it went over so well. Everybody loved it. Bought apples on sale at where I buy my groceries and made the most delicious apple butter. And then I just paired them with little knickknacks and things I found in my thrift store that I cleaned up and made new. And they were the most awesome personalized gifts that I've ever given, I think. So, all right, moving on. So back to that shopping for other things, always make a list. Even if it's not for groceries, make a list and have an idea in mind of how much money you can spend and stick to that. If you have to, take cash. Don't even take your debit card. Leave it at home or leave it in the car when you go in the store. Whatever. Just bring in cash. Then you're less likely to spend more money because you think, oh, I got my debit card. I have a little bit more money in there. Maybe I can fudge a little bit on bills next week. No, don't do that. You get into a trap. Trust me, I've been there. Number 3, trips and family activities. We used to see things that were discounted rates on this admission or whatever, free admission one day. But we have to travel to most places that we go to for family activities if we do that. So we always need to make sure that we include the travel time that we're going to be gone, and the fuel we're going to use, and if we are going to be there for a meal time, things like that. We used to not plan so well for that. Now we're better about it. If we're going to be gone for a meal, we will pack a lunch. It works out great that way. If we can find some place we can stop and eat, park or whatever. Like if there's a park we went to a few weeks ago, there was a zoo there. They also had a splash pad outside, which was great. It was like water park and zoo in one day. And we brought a lunch. And of course we got a discounted rate that day to get into the zoo. So then of course we had to factor in our fuel that we were going to use, and we checked to make sure, you know, we wanted to know if we were going to run into any road construction, because of course it slows you down. You may use more fuel for more time on the road. And then another thing, we cannot afford to take a lot of expensive family vacations, which is why we like to camp. So if you saw my camping video, you saw that we had a really cheap camper that we bought. We paid for it with tax refund and a little bit of money we had saved up. We were lucky. Our parents actually bought that the year before, last year. We were going to wait till this spring to use some tax money and other money we had saved up to buy a camper. But my husband saw this camper on his way home from work, and we called the people, and my parents said, well, let's just go look. And it was such a good deal, we couldn't pass it up. My parents said they would put the money up for it if we paid for the registration. And then when tax time came around and we had enough money saved up to give to them, we said, here you go. And we bought the camper from them. It was great. The reason why we did not pass up the deal is because the people were selling it for less than the value of less than what it was worth at the time, and it had everything included in it. We didn't need to buy anything to go camping right away except for food. So it was a great deal. And that doesn't cost us much. It costs us like $60 every time we want to go camping, and we only go every few weeks. So it works out pretty good. So that's how we handle family trips and vacations and things. And my last one is planning for the future. Now, this is something we're anticipating a budget buster in the future, but we're dealing with it now so that we don't have to be caught off guard with future plans. Oh, my reminder's coming up for work. Okay. Anyway, we realized we were not planning very well for the future. Yes, we had life insurance, but we realized that was not enough. We were trying to put some money away in savings for our kids, but that even wasn't enough. So because we were a little bit naive to investing and things like that, we didn't know how to start. Here's what I would suggest. Find a financial advisor. I know some of you are thinking, I don't have money to spend on a financial advisor. Check with your local banks, credit unions, even your library. Your local library may have resources. We got lucky. The bank where we have our mortgage and that we started a checking account with, they have a financial advisor there. He is there available during business hours, after business hours, and it's really great. And we know him actually, so it worked out great. But he approached us actually and asked us if we were interested. And at first we weren't. We're like, whatever. Then we thought about it, and I thought, do we really know what we're doing as far as investing? And we have 4 children we have to pay for college, to put them through college somehow, give them some sort of education so they don't get stuck in a rut. So we went to see this financial advisor, and he helped us to reallocate some money we had already set aside and put it into better investments to earn money faster, and also helped us to set up the college savings plans for our kids to make sure that they'll have some money. Now, my oldest, of course, he's graduating in a couple years. There's not going to be a whole lot there for him, but at least he'll have something to work with. So that is how we are doing that. I hope these helped you, and they sure helped me getting that out. So if you want to add to this, that'd be great. Comment on my video if you have any questions, or if you're going to do your own budget buster video or list, go ahead and comment and let me know, and then I can go and watch. So hope you enjoyed my video. Like it, subscribe to my channel, and have a good rest of your week.